Hey, what is going on, everyone? My name is Jared, and today I'm going to be talking about my Japanese and me wanting to learn the language. So, I have a couple of pointers that I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to go over those. So, this year, I want to do my best to learn Japanese. Um, I know it's a very vague goal, but I do have ideas on how I'm going to go about it and how I'm going to reach that goal. Reason why I want to learn Japanese is it's a language I've always been fascinated with. Growing up with, growing up with anime. Let's be honest here. Growing up with anime, watching a lot of anime, and just seeing it as an interesting culture. Um, Makes me want to learn the language. So I'm gonna go ahead and go full force into learning it this year, um, for those type of reasons. The other thing that I want to do is is the other thing I want to do is track my progress in the language. So I think that is going to be the most important part for me. I want to be able to see my progress over a span of training or practicing and seeing how I'm actually making improvements, um, moving from week to week, month to month, and eventually year by year, hopefully by then, um, just to see how my overall language learning has improved. Um, I've always been fascinated with learning a second language. I tried learning Spanish in high school. That did not go well, but I have a more concrete idea on how I want to go about learning Japanese, and I'll go through that with you all later on in the video. So that is that. That is kind of my goal for this upcoming for this next year, for from now until next year during about this time. I want to see the amount of improvement that I've made. The other thing that I want to talk about is that I am a beginner in the language, but not an absolute beginner. So what I mean by that is I know my hiragana and I know my katakana. I can read those relatively quickly. In a beginner sense, I can't read it fluently, not at all. And I've already started working on kanji. So if I had to, if I had to rate the amount of um, experience I have from relatively starting at zero, I'd probably say about a month and a half. However, there are several things that are lacking big time in my Japanese currently. The big thing that I see right now is my vocabulary bank. My vocabulary is not spectacular at all. So that is one thing that I want to work on improving. Um, and also, I have access to me being a university student right now. I have access to um, the courses. So I am actually enrolled in what they would call third semester Japanese right now, and I am able to. I have resources like my teacher, and I can get a tutor to improve upon my Japanese. So I have resources that I think can help me improve along the way. But I'll only be having that for about a year longer before I graduate. So um, that's also one factor for me wanting to um, go into the language now, is because I won't have these type of resources after I graduate as easily. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how I plan to go about learning the language. So the way that I am currently learning is through spaced repetition and learning through mnemonics. So I think mnemonics are a great way towards personalizing stuff to your experiences, uh, allowing you to better memorize it, recall it better, and allowing you to see see things, identify them, and then recall them. So I watched one of my motivations for going about it this way is that I watched a YouTuber, or I watched this guy on YouTube. He go through the entire process of a year, learning about it this way. The YouTube channel is called Japanese in a Year, so therefore that's my inspiration. And the way he went about it was using mnemonics, lots of mnemonics, and developing vocabulary that way. So I want to go about that method of learning. I guess you could call it based off of kind of the Heisig method of creating stories for each word, because as you may know, in Japanese there's not just a set alphabet. There are thousands of kanji out there, and each one in different combinations can mean different things, and it can get confusing real quickly unless you have a way to sort through them. So the way that I'm going to be sorting through them is through mnemonics, and hopefully you'll be able to see how I do that, and I'll try to share how I'm going about that as well. Lastly, so the amount of time that I'm going to be spending learning it. So I plan to put about an hour to 2 hours a day into a scheduled practice routine. However, I know that can be hard. So for me, I'm going to be allotting at most 2 hours a day, at the least an hour a day. I'm pretty sure I could find an hour a day in my schedule to study something that I want to learn. So that is how long I plan to go about studying, and I do want to practice. I do want to document how my practice is going and whatnot on this YouTube channel, and that is one of the main reasons why I'm going to be creating this channel, is my journey through Japanese. Hence the name of my channel. But anyways, that is going to be the way that I want to approach learning Japanese. My goal is to see how far I can get in a year, and then on improving from there. And then I went over how much experience I have in the language. In my opinion, it's really not that much, but I do hope to be able to use this language in the future, for traveling, for making connections, and whatnot. So anyways, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to follow my journey through learning this language, and I'll see you all next time.